another question here, changing it up a bit in terms of topic. How do you see Buddha nature theory being shaped by Western studies and practice, or is it far too early to even consider such influence?
The West, it's a bit difficult. No, there are people who scholars purely from an academic and historical point of view. Also Japanese scholars, by the way, Chinese and different institutions. I think through the discovery of the Sanskrit manuscript of Ratnavotara Vibhaga, which is in fact the only, let us say, the only work that is exclusively devoted to the Tathagata Gaba and that survives in Sanskrit is the Ratnavotara Vibhaga, right? And his commentary. And Takasaki's efforts and so on, Professor Ruig and Professor Schmidhausen and so on. I think the understanding of the Tathagata Gaba, at least among the Western academia, is more or less secured. I mean, it's quite strong, it's robust, I think. But on a practical level, I mean, Kama was often speaking of the Tathagata Gaba practice. So I said, I do not really understand how to practice Tathagata Gaba or how to relate Tathagata Gaba in the practice, but I try to find a way. Is maybe Tathagata Gaba is mainly a kind of a very inspiring theory that every sentient being is either a Buddha by nature or by nurture, right? You have the full potential. And these have so many implications on soteriology, ontology, epistemology, gnoseology, cosmology, mainly soteriology, and ethics, morality, etc. For example, I thought the impact of Tathagata Gaba is, Gekwe Dorji's Damsik Seltra, right? One of our Lobema is studying this. This is something that we can maybe learn from the Tathagata Gaba. I don't know whether in the East and West we are learning from it. Maybe some people may say, if it's we have all the potential of the Buddha, and maybe some of our fellow human beings would think, oh, that implies that I must be a Buddhist. In my view, there is no such implication. That means if you have the Buddha nature, it doesn't force you to be a Buddhist, I think. There's no such implication. But some people will fear that this is the implication. Why should I like Buddha nature theory? Because it seems to imply that I must become a Buddhist. No. All what Buddha nature theory is saying is you have the full treasure underneath your house. Whether you want to explore it or not is totally up to you, right? So this is actually the implication. But one interesting implication that we can draw from this Buddha nature theory is Gekwe Dorji, Vilasavajra. He says in the Sawanyingpo there is called in the Tsawe Damsik, one of the 5 fundamental precepts of Tantric precept is Yangda Lam Shugla Jam, right? One has to have compassion or affection towards people who have entered the Yangda Lam. And in this context, Gekwe Dorji speaks about Che Shi, 4 types of relatives, and one is a Ringwe Che or a Chi Che. This is where you see the implication of the ethical implication of Tathagata Gaba is Ringwe Che. All sentient beings are relatives. Why? There are several reasons, but one is we have the Buddha nature, equally possess the Buddha nature, right? So all sentient beings deserve respect, deserve appreciation, and deserve to be left in peace or deserve to be helped because precisely they share the same element as I do, right? So this is the ethical, practical implication, right? So this is what we can learn from the Buddha nature theory, in my view. And how is it happening? Is it happening? I don't know.
Yeah, this is a very good way of putting it. I think the sense of being member of one family, the Buddha family. But as Dorji pointed out, with regard to academic studies, perhaps we have done so well in Western academia or Buddhist academic circles. What I personally think with regard to this interaction and encounter with the West is, just as I suppose the idea of Buddha nature in Ratnavotara Vibhaga has developed through encounter with Adya Vedanta and so forth, And similarly, how the understanding of Buddha nature in Chan and Zen Buddhism has also been influenced by Taoist thinking or some local spiritual thoughts. Maybe we are also now seeing a new phase of understanding Buddha nature after its encounter with sort of Western thoughts. If you look at Western thinkers like Mr. Eckhart or Aldous Huxley, there's a lot of writings about this ultimate, the oneness of things, the absolute reality. I suppose there will be a new sort of interpretation of Buddha nature coming out as a result of this encounter with similar thoughts that already exist in the West, and even in Christianity. If you look at Gnosticism, maybe there will be some encounter, some similarities that will lead to a new understanding. So I think, as it often happens, maybe this encounter of different ideas will give a new sort of chapter to Buddha nature studies and practice.
Yeah, let us say now we can, as a people dealing with Buddhist ideas and Buddhist theories, especially Buddhists, not just Buddhist scholars, the conception of the Buddha nature is certainly a very noble idea in its conception, very noble. And I can personally believe that it's such a noble idea. But even a noble idea can take undesirable turns and becomes people with misuse, or I don't know, misdevelop in a way. And we have some examples in the history of Buddhism is that this Buddha nature might be misused in such a way that people might commit some atrocities. I don't know how they can justify it, but using the Buddha nature to do something inhumane. I mean, it seems very counterintuitive, but it happens. So I think it is perhaps it is the responsibility, I would like to, not necessarily Buddhist scholars, but Buddhists, to somehow, let us say, try at least to ensure that this noble idea remains a noble idea and is not misused in any way. Because Buddhist scholars would not prescribe this, but I think it is the responsibility of the, let us say, people who identify themselves as Buddhists, or at least who subscribe to this Buddha nature theory, that will have to somehow try at least to preserve this noble idea as a noble idea and prevent from, I don't know, miscarriage or some sort of an undesirable development.